Hello, and welcome back to Ask Abby Dreyer. This month's question relates to something I've had to deal with a few times in my career. My company has just announced that there's going to be a merger. What do I do now? This is a tricky one. Many people associate mergers and acquisitions with mass layoffs, so the first thing people tend to think when a merger is announced is, we're all going to lose our jobs! Frankly, sometimes that's true. Restructures and layoffs do happen, and there's not much you can do about it. In the face of this, many people panic and start updating their resumes instead of getting their work done. While keeping your resume up to date is never a bad idea, it's important not to panic. It's not in your best interest to assume the worst before you have all the information. Let's break down the information you should start tracking down after a merger is announced at your company. 1. What's the new vision of the company as a result of this merger? Executives don't buy companies because they like spending money. They buy companies because they see potential in what this new blend can do. The challenge is figuring out what they are envisioning, as it's not always very clearly explained to the employees. When you talk to your manager, don't open with, what does this mean for me? Your manager may not know the answer to that yet. Try asking, what are we building? 2. How does your current role fit into that vision? Once you have more insight into the vision of the new company, figure out how your current role fits into that vision. This actually might be a good time to update your resume, if only to help you understand what you've accomplished for this company, which will help you with your future conversations with your manager. 3. Is there a different role you can look into that better fits the company's new direction? If you find out that your current role may not have a place in the new vision, start to look into whether there is another role you can move into. How can the company leverage your skills a little differently to meet their goals? Ask your manager if there are any other roles in the company that you might be suited for, and ask for their help with introductions to the hiring managers. 4. What can you do to help make this merger successful? Outside of finding a role for yourself, what can you do to help? Mergers and acquisitions are often filled with emotions, which leads to spreading rumors and general panic. What can you do to quell that a little bit? The first merger I went through, I passed out worry stones to people on my team. At that point, none of us knew what was happening other than mass layoffs, and any one of us could be the next one pulled into a conference room, never to be seen in the office again. It was a terrible time, but I did my best to stay positive and not make it worse than it already was. I found out later that my positive attitude was one of the things that led to my promotion to a new role shortly after the merger. If I had fed into the panic, I may not have been as successful. I know this is a scary time, and mergers are not always handled in the best way in the eyes of the employees. Remember, don't panic. Find out what you can and try to stay positive. Thanks for the question and good luck. If you have a question, please send them to info@askabbydreyer.com or find me on Facebook at Ask Abby Dreyer. To make sure you don't miss the questions of the month, please subscribe on YouTube. See you next month.